the Delmarva Almanac. Each week we connect you to the best of Delmarva. Like other almanacs, our aim is to tell you a little bit about our past, our present, and events in the near future. I'm your host, Dana Kester McCabe. Milton artist Aurelio Grisanty was born in the Dominican Republic, where he had a successful career in graphic design. He moved to the U.S. in 1984. He lived most of his life in Washington, D.C. before moving to coastal Delaware in 2004, eventually settling happily in Milton.
I wanted to be a painter, and my grandfather said, you can be a painter only if you do graphic design. He didn't trust I was going to be able to make a life as a painter. This is 1960s. And so I did graphic design, and thank God I did, because my first 10 years went between graphic design and painting. But 10 years after the graduation I went to school at the Mexico University, and 10 years after then I was able to drop graphic design and start as a painter. By then I was living in Santo Domingo, and my art was all about the colonization of America. It had all the dark drama and of the Spanish conquest. That influence, it came from the house I was living. I was living in a colonial house. Then it changed more into the nature. I started traveling in the island, and nature came over, and that stayed with me for the longest time. In between, there were psychological and emotional problems that I painted about my life, about my personal state of being. And then now it's more, I'm picking up with the landscape I'm surrounded by. When I moved here, living between 3 lakes, I started doing waters. So the waters came about, and there is a lot of paintings with water in it, and the blue came about, strong blue that I never used before. And I even went into, and I'm doing still that, being very realistic, which I've never been before. So here the landscape is so overwhelming that you tend to want to make it the way you see it. So it becomes a kind of a realism in a sense, and I've done a few. But my abstraction from nature right now is what I'm working on.
At the University of Mexico, there was a great emphasis on vibrant colors, which can still be seen in Aurelio's work today. While Aurelio works on commission pieces and designs, he is always working on something of his own.
One that I love doing is, I work on a table. I don't work on an easel. I work on a table, and I put a canvas on it, white, blank canvas. And I start doing small paintings on it. By the end of, I would say, 3 months, that canvas is so beautifully stained with different images and lines and drawings come out of it, that I take it and I divide it on the future paintings that I want to do. I would say it's a journey of my whole life, because once I see what has happened with the work of 3 months at a table, then I start applying all the knowledge.
Each work is built on the effects of other paintings and becomes a reflection of not only his other work, but a sort of journal entry recording his state of mind at the time of its creation. Works that are more planned begin with sketches he does on his computer.
The process, I'm very, I would say, mechanical on that. Emotional line before. So a whole series of paintings can come from an emotional state of being. Like, for instance, I'm in love with a town, I'm painting the town. But once I start doing each piece about the town, it's totally professional. It has nothing to do with what I'm feeling, just the beauty of the piece itself. Once the subject is defined, I just attack it professionally and mechanical, actually.
Aurelio has done a number of commissioned murals, and over the years he has built a business of nostalgic Art Deco-inspired travel posters.
The poster started, that was a great thing that happened to me. I came to Rehoboth, and I had an apartment there, And I remember we had, in the beach house, we had French posters in the Dominican Republic, and I said, I want those French posters for this apartment, just to remind me of my childhood. But then I said, maybe I should design my own. And I did 2 posters of Rehoboth. Very scared, I had a printout of, it was, 50 of each. They sold like in 4 days to stores, they wanted them. And by the end of that summer, I had like 6 posters out, and the editions were like 500 each, real fast. So now, that was 2004, 10 years later, 11 years later, we are doing 84 towns, and it's been a great business. So my grandfather was right. Do your graphic design.
Aurelio is currently working on a series dedicated to Milton, Delaware. He says the canvas catching all the paint from this series will be developed into a painting called An Iconoclastic History of Milton. We'd like to thank our community partners, the Friends of Delmarva Public Radio, the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, and underwriters EatDrinkBuyArt.com for their help in bringing this program to you, our audience. Our theme music was provided by Brightside Studio. This show has been a Moonshell production. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, may the rhythms and tides of Delmarva bring you good fortune.